Hello and welcome. My name is Chris. This is a new lesson for the YouTube channel Learn British English Free. I've got what I think is a real treat for you in this lesson. I'm going to be talking about phrasal verbs, and it's a really quick and easy lesson because by using two verbs, pop and nip, then adding prepositions or not, depending on the context and the sentence, you can describe a whole range of movements and visits to other places just by using these verbs and adding the correct prepositions. These are really popular informal phrasal verbs in Britain. We use them to describe when we're going or visiting other places. And the main points to remember when you're using these or when you hear them used by others is that the movement or the visit will be brief. You won't be staying at the destination for very long. And the direction of the travel, of the movement, needs to be communicated through your correct choice of the preposition. I mentioned two verbs, pop and nip. They are interchangeable. I'm going to focus today on the phrasal verbs using pop, but at the end I'll show that you can simply change pop to nip and it has the same meaning. So you can perhaps talk about 14 or 16 new phrasal verbs through this one lesson. Please look in the video description for the examples that I'm going to read through. The examples are really important because it'll help you understand the different uses of the prepositions in particular. Another thing to note with these is because we're talking about brief visits, you will often hear the word just used as part of the construct in front of the phrasal verb. In this context, using just emphasizes that we're talking about something which is quick, which is brief. The main prepositions I want to focus on are in, out, down, up, round, around, over. We normally use to, in conjunction with the prepositions, and there are occasions where you don't need a preposition. You will simply say pop to a place or nip to a place, and I'll explain some examples of that as well. Let's start then with pop in. And always think about the preposition you want to use. You will use in if you want to go into a place or into a building. So think about what the preposition is for the direction of movement or travel, and you want to apply that to create the correct phrasal verb. Examples. Excuse me whilst I pop into the shop quickly. This means that you're probably outside the shop. You're going to go into the shop. I'm just going to pop in to see my mum for a moment. We use just there because we're going to do it very quickly. If you're free now, why don't you just pop in? Sometimes you can use the phrasal verbs at the end of the sentence. In this example, the context would be maybe it's someone in an office or a particular place. They're inviting someone to come in to see them. And the last one for pop in, she needs to pop into town for a bit of shopping. Remember, a very popular British expression to go into town means to go to the town centre or also the city centre. Pop out. We would use that when we normally want to use the preposition out, maybe to go outside or out of a place. I'm going to pop out to the shop. This means that someone is in a place, probably their home, and they're going to go outside to go to the shop. Do you want to pop out for a walk before we get going? Pop down. You would normally use this to describe if you are going maybe from a higher level in a building to a lower one, so you're going down like that, or geographically, if you are in a place which is more northern than another. So you were travelling south, you were travelling down. For example, if I were travelling from Liverpool to London, I'd say I'm going down to London. Let's pop down the pub for a cheeky pint. Shall we pop down to Mike's to see if he's any better? Please pop down when you've finished the report. Something else to bear in mind is that we will say pop down or a couple of others when we are simply describing to go somewhere else. So they are interchangeable as well. For example, with pop out. If we pop down to Mike's, we're probably not going down anywhere literally, but we can use it interchangeably to describe the general movement, if you like. A bit confusing, but if you hear enough examples, then it will become clear. Pop up, we're talking about going up in a building to a higher level or going northwards. For example, going from London to Liverpool. I would be popping up to Liverpool. We're just popping up to Scotland for a short holiday. So if you went from England, which is south of Scotland, you'd be popping up. Could you pop up to my room and fetch my slippers for me? So you'd be on probably the ground floor in a building, pop up to the bedroom, which are normally on the first floor. I need to pop up to floor 5 for a meeting with my manager. Pop over. Now I mentioned about pop down. We sometimes use pop down to describe general movements. Pop over is one where the preposition shouldn't be used literally. We simply mean it to go to a different place, normally somewhere quite close by, for example, a friend's house. So if we pop over, it doesn't mean to go over something, normally. Do you want to pop over this afternoon? That would be the equivalent of an invitation. Do you want to come round to my house this afternoon? We popped over to London for the day last Sunday. So that means that we're somewhere outside London and we went there. It's not clear from this what the direction of travel was, but we can use over in a generic sense. And pop round or pop around, again, it's the same thing. We don't literally mean to go round something or around something. You can use it in the same way to pop over. Why don't you pop round after work? It's an invitation, means come to my house after work. You should really pop around to Lisa's and apologise. You should go to Lisa's house and apologise, wherever it is. Place names. I said at the beginning, you don't always have to choose a preposition of direction. And in these examples, we're simply using pop and to in most cases, or you don't even have to do it that way. First example, I just want to pop home after work. Let's pop to Jamie's for dinner. I've got to pop to Birmingham for a meeting. So see how in those examples you don't even have to include the preposition if the direction or the movement is clear from the context. I focused on pop, as I said I would, but we have the other verb, don't we? Nip. And to my mind as a native speaker, it is completely interchangeable. All of the examples that we've just gone through, we can replace pop with nip, and it means the same thing. So I think that's a really great thing for your vocabulary. You can simply change them however you like. Again, it's informal, and it will give you more variety. And I've got a few examples. I'm going to replace pop with nip from the examples I did before. I just want to nip home after work. Do you want to nip over this afternoon? Let's nip down the pub for a cheeky pint. Used in the exact same way, with the same prepositions. It has the same meaning, but it's a different verb. It can give you some different expressions. Okay, lots of new ideas and new vocabulary, prepositions, examples, I imagine. Pop and nip. to be used when describing visits or brief journeys travelled to other places. Lots to think about in terms of prepositions and when to use which preposition correctly. Please do leave me a comment if you want to ask questions or further explanations. I will try to answer. I realise that there was a lot to this lesson, so let's keep trying and keep practicing, and I hope that this will really boost your vocabulary and can help you when communicating. We certainly do use these expressions an awful lot in Britain, I can assure you, as a native speaker. That's it for now. Thank you very much for your time and for bearing with me. Please do subscribe if you haven't already to learn British English free on YouTube. I'll have more lessons coming after this one. We've also got a Facebook page, Learn British English, and a group, English Language Group. We have a Google Plus page, Twitter, and the main website is www.learnbritishenglish.co.uk. Please have a look in the description. Along with the examples for all the vocabulary we've discussed today, you'll find the links to those sites and many more. They are free and everyone is welcome. So please do join me. My name is Chris. It's been a pleasure as always teaching you British English, and I will see you soon for the next lesson. Bye for now.